Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Tuesday and I'm so excited. We're finally back with 90 Day Fiance. You guys, I think we've had 3 weeks off of 90 Day Fiance. But here we are. We're back. We're with the original recipe. It's season 10, episode 12, is Sickness and in Health. And I'm so glad to be back with 1/3 of my throuple. Kimberly from A Day with Dateline. I'm so happy to see you.
I missed you. I missed talking about Nikki's vagina and how it's not getting what it needs. I missed talking about was spicy food giving you the runs, which I didn't know we were going to talk about this episode, but we did.
Always.
This show is always surprising. I missed everything about it.
I know, and it's very unlike any kind of Matt Sharp production to go on hiatus for. I mean, they gave new content with those pillow talks.
Yeah.
But they usually only take a break for the Super Bowl, so it was shocking.
It's curious what they think their audience is. That they should take off for the Super Bowl, but they shouldn't take off. I don't understand. This is when we need content the most, when we're sick of our families and we need to hide and watch 90 Day Fiance.
I know. Well, did you have a nice holiday?
No,
I haven't even talked to you at all.
No,
not. Oh,
no. It was fine.
Okay. Have you gotten your parents all moved into their new spot?
They're pretty settled. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And so
I just came back up 2 days ago, so I've been there for a very long time.
That section of your life is maybe over.
Closing the door.
Yeah, closing that door.
It's done. Much like Anali has closed her legs to Clayton, I close the door on my parents, and I say bye-bye, and I seal up the door like the cask of Amontillado, and it's done. No, they're still calling me through the door. And I gotta
Wow, this really took a turn. I was off for that time, but I was still putting out new content, and I've got to, because I did that Then and Now series while I was gone. And so you girls are up next. We're going to listen to the old episode I did with you guys when I first met you.
Oh my gosh.
And then we'll talk about Then and Now. I love it. It's really fun.
We've actually done 2 repeats in a row, like update episodes on Dateline from ones that we covered in 2017 when we first started. So this whole past month has been like time cyclical, like time is a big circle. It's all coming back to me now. Celine Dion. It's all been very nostalgic. So I'm excited for more of it.
Did you
see how horrible we were back then?
When you listened to it, did you think, oh my God, we were horrible? Or did you think like, wasn't as bad as I thought? What'd you think?
I actually didn't listen to it. I choose not to. They're on the feed, but we're slowly taking them off. We are going to be taking off our first year of content because we just think it's not great. Sometimes my mic was turned around. I was recording in the back of my mic because I didn't know how my mic worked. And so I sound like I'm in a tunnel or a cave.
That's funny.
And sometimes I was really mean about people that I shouldn't have. And I've gone back and edited out a lot of that. But we're just going to take them off. We're going to put them on Patreon and Supercast. So that's the plan.
Okay. Well, I think, it's there. You stand by your words. You stand by your shitty audio.
I do. And if people say, hey, you said this and it was horrible, I'll usually go back and edit it out. Unless I'm like, no, that was funny.
Yeah. Like, what's wrong with you?
I still stand by that
you're
joke.
Stupid too.
When I blamed the murder on the 3-year-old. I still stand by that joke. And then I say, you know what? Maybe this podcast is not for you. And that's okay.
Oh, yeah. See, I never say that. I will try to hang on to that listener with the last
No, I'm not going to
strength
joke for one person. No, it's not for them.
Oh, no.
Come back and complain about the next thing I do. So it's not for them.
You're right. That's a good point. Like Karen and Georgia used to say at the beginning of their live shows, they would say, if you're a season ticket holder to this theater and you came in because you think this is going to be something fun, well, we are a true crime podcast that is also comedic. And if you don't understand how that works, I can't help you. But we are a true crime comedy podcast. And if you don't like that, you should get the fuck out.
I
Just
cannot.
say that
So
at the beginning
people
of
would
every
show
show.
up with
Mhm,
tickets because they had season tickets and did
mhm.
not know what they were getting into.
Yeah,
But the
it's
show is called My Favorite Murder. That's a big hint
right,
right there.
right. But they don't know if it's like a whodunit play,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know? They
that's
don't.
true. I've often thought of doing a disclaimer at the beginning that would say, "This is Katie and Kimberly. This is a date with Dateline. If you are any way involved in this case, please do not listen to this episode."
Well, hopefully they would get the knowledge just to do that anyway, you
No,
know?
we've actually heard from quite a few people who were involved in our cases, and they've always liked our episodes. So shockingly, we have
Well,
not gotten heat from them. They've always enjoyed our episodes.
you
Thank
guys
God.
aren't generally snarky about any victims. You're
No.
generally snarky about like a small town cop or the murderer themselves or
Yes,
the people
we've
that deserve
tried.
your snark. Yeah.
Maybe at the beginning I was occasionally, but I took that out. Yeah.
God, that's a lot of work to edit that stuff out. I would just take the episode down and just like forget it.
I know. I'm getting to that point.
Yeah. Um, how long you guys have had your podcast since 2017?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I started mine in 2018, so I'm right behind you.
Yeah.
So that was back when podcasting was an art, and now everybody's got a podcast. You can't swing a dead cat and hit a celebrity with a podcast. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad your time in Europe hasn't changed you. I'm glad you're still the same. I was worried you'd come back all hoity-toity and speaking with a French accent.
Oh God, I wish. I wish I would have come back with an accent, but
You said that your daughter had like a weird accent at restaurants, and that was the funniest thing.
it was so embarrassing. She would it was very much like the Hilaria Baldwin
Yes!
situation. It was very much
How
like
you say
how you say
cucumber?
cucumber. Yeah, it was very much like that. It would be like, I would like vodka drink. I was like, you can just ask for a vodka soda. You don't have to say a vodka drink like they don't know what that is. Like, oh my God, how embarrassing. Ah, God. All right, well, let's get into these people that we've missed so much. A couple of exciting things happened in this episode, and one of them was we got to meet Sam's mother. And so I think that gave us a lot of information that we
We
needed.
had already met her.
We'd only seen her at that cookout where she was just like a guest at some they obviously have been divorced for a long time, but we don't have any information. But obviously she just abandoned the family at some point.
Obviously,
I
my
think
instincts about her were right. The way she
mhm.
said, "I don't know if
Yes.
I approve of the Muslim, and I don't
Yes.
do they celebrate Christmas?"
Yes.
And yeah.
Yes. Your instincts were right because I was like, well, maybe she just doesn't know. But no, your instincts are totally
Yeah,
right.
I did judge her, but, I was right, yeah.
You were right. She showed herself. And another thing we learned from this episode is that Jasmine and Gino just need to live in the state of
Eh,
Florida.
it makes them I think the serotonin something from the sun is just
Yeah.
making them so nice to each other.
Yeah. It's wild. Nobody screamed, cried,
Yeah,
"Ooh," none of that. It
yeah.
was great. It was a good episode. But I gotta say, it was nice to have a break from them as well.
It's always nice
It,
to have a
it
break
was.
from
It,
cheating.
it was nice. So, 90 Day Fiance, season 10, episode 12, and sickness and in health, because, we're just doing the vows. And we're going to start with Justin and Nikki.
It's Nikki Exotica and Justigor.
Justigor, I forgot about Justigor. That's one of the best things you've ever said.
Oh, thank
Justigor.
you.
Yeah.
Bar is very low. So she's mad because he had what he's calling sex friends now. When
Sex
they were
friends. Sure.
she thought they were exclusive. And she keeps saying, if you invested what I invested, you would feel upset. The money is so important to her.
Yeah, and I think she also means like her time and her heart and all that, but it does make it sound like it's all
Because
about
she
money.
says, if I was a sugar mama and you were sleeping around, so I paid for
Mhm.
everything. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not wrong.
she's
So,
not
yeah.
wrong. And then he said, and then out of nowhere, he goes, if you want, we can have fun with another girl. And you could
Mhm.
see that this is just sex, which is the
Uh,
weirdest pitch for a threesome I've ever heard.
oh,
He's
I
smiling.
I recorded this whole thing because I was like, because this will go on my stories for this week. I was like, this is weird. The way he's saying it is weird because he's smiling and she's like, what are you talking about?
Like, I think she's right later. She says, I can never tell if he's serious or if he's trying to piss me off on purpose. Like, is he trying to sabotage this relationship by starting insane fights?
Yeah, true. True. He could be sabotaging on purpose to be like, well, she didn't want to be a throuple, so I said, forget it. We have to
Yeah.
ditch her. Yeah.
Also, just after you've admitted that you've cheated is probably not the time to pitch a threesome. It should probably be when you're on your best behavior. When you've taken her to dinner, you've done the dishes, you've gone out of your way to be a good partner, and then you
Mhm.
casually pitch it. Not
As a
now,
joke, as a joke,
as
just
a
to
joke.
float it, just to see what
Just to
happens.
see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he says this is one of his dreams. And he gets very mad. He's saying, this is one of my dreams. Why can't I say to my fiance what I want? Again, it's your timing.
Yeah. Yeah, we
The
thought he
timing
was kind
is
of a
wrong.
sweet baby angel, but not so much.
No,
No,
he's a dog.
no.
And he says, I want us to be open because I've spent so much of my time closed. And she's like, I was open throughout my whole 20s and 30s.
Yeah, she's like, I don't yeah, I'm done with that.
Yeah. And so she kind of sees right through this, which is he wants a biologically born female in his bed because he's
Mhm.
still not comfortable with me being trans. And I do
Yes.
think that's part of it for sure. So she they sit down and she opens up to him as he is holding this fuzzy giant stuffed bird, like
It was a like a
purple,
purple
with a very wide neck.
flamingo or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to have a serious conversation. And she says, how many girls did you sleep with when I thought we were exclusive? And we were having unprotected sex because I thought we were exclusive. And he says,
Mhm.
well, I was always careful and it was two. You believe two?
He thought about that number long and hard. I think he thought about what number would seem believable.
Uh-huh.
Because he was like, "Uh-huh, it is 2?"
Uh-huh.
Question mark?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think there's like a equation of what somebody says and what it actually is.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
like if
not
you
two.
t the doctor asks you how many drinks you have in a week, and they double it. Like, whatever you tell them, they double it. If you go, "I have, like, 5 drinks a week," they go, "Okay, she has 10." Yeah,
10.
yeah.
Uh, so she goes, I did all the threesome stuff in my 20s. I've been with girls. 2 guys bleeped me. 2 girls bleeped me. I even had 3 guys bleep me in Paris, and that didn't work. It was too much. Too many guys.
I was like, 3 at once? Are you going in
There's
through
enough
all
orifices.
Yeah, and yeah, somebody okay. Alright, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in. It was a lot to imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Um And then he says, I didn't mean now. I meant like when we were married, which is not what he told us. He said, I want it to happen on this trip.
Yeah. Yeah,
So he's even lying to us, the audience. I take more offense to that than the fact that he's lying to Nikki. Don't
he
lie to
was like
me,
he's like,
Justigor. We can clear that.
I'm ready in the next 15 minutes. Let's
Yeah.
go." Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so she calls her mom to vent about him, and she realized that all along there was a reason she was so jealous. She knew something was up with him. He wouldn't answer her calls, he wouldn't answer her texts, and when she would get on him, he would get really, really defensive and start fights with her. And he had a wall up when they went on vacation together, and she should have trusted her instincts. She knew
Yes.
something was up.
Yes. Yes.
So he goes to meet his friend Ivan, whose muscles are bursting out of his zipped up leather jacket. He looks like a bad guy in Taken. And then I felt really bad for thinking that because I feel like Die Hard and Taken and stuff have really made men in that Eastern European region look very bad.
Well,
But it's not their fault.
That and André.
Andre. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ivan understands her side. So I was like, yay, Ivan, for 1 second. Then he
Mhm.
lost me. But for
Yeah.
1 second, I was happy. And then freaking Justin goes, I don't think I'm dealing with a woman. I'm dealing with her masculine side that wants to control.
Yeah, he keeps saying that. He keeps saying that her
Like it.
masculine side is what is the problem. Well, then you don't need to be dating her. Like you need
No.
to. It needs to be
Also,
over
she
because
was always like this before you knew she was trans. So
right,
what was your rationalization there?
right,
Sometimes women want to control and are jealous and have emotions that
yeah,
you don't like, and I'm so sorry.
yeah, and
So,
want to take a stand and have opinions. That
yeah,
happens.
God
Yeah.
forbid. So the friend says, "Look, you introduced her to your parents. You've updated your social media." And that's where Ivan lost me because, like, she's your fiance. That is the bare minimum of what you're supposed to do. Do you want a medal?
Yeah,
I'm giving you a participation ring for adequate fiance job
yeah.
because that's what you're supposed to do. And
Change your
then,
status.
yeah, Justin says, she just yells and demands sex, and I don't work like that. And the friend says, well, women can be naturally manipulative like this. So then I was like, so is she bad because she's trans and a man, or is she bad because she's a woman?
Mm.
She's just
Is she
bad. You just don't like her.
is she naturally manipulative because she's a woman, or is she aggressive because she's a man?
Yeah,
Which
she
is it?
can't
Which
win.
is it?
This is like
Yeah.
the whole Barbie speech from America Ferrera.
Yeah.
Poor Nikki
Yes.
cannot win with Justin. And the friend says, you need to show her your masculine side, that you're stronger than she is. And Justin
That'll
thinks that's really good
mm,
advice.
yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think this is going to work. I
I
don't
don't
think
think so.
that this is just
Mm-mm.
horrible. Nikki, find someone who accepts you the way that you are. You are
Agree.
fine.
Agree.
So I'm not saying she's fine. There's stuff about her that's very shady off the show. But
Well, yeah.
for what we're seeing on the show, you're fine. So you do demand sex way too much, and it's kind of gross. But it's fine. You're saying what you want, and you need to be
He's
with
saying what he
someone.
wants. He wants a three-way.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mhm.
You're just not matched with each other. So meanwhile, her mom is like, F that, F the threesome, F him. You don't need she's being a good hype up mom.
Yeah.
And Nikki is like, I'm reconsidering the whole thing. We have an upcoming engagement party, which is going to be what next episode is about, apparently. And
Ah.
this is news. And so she might cancel it and the
So
relationship.
okay, question. How long is she in Moldova? Because this is not the other way. This is 90 Day Fiance. How long is she there? They're going to do, are they planning to get married there? Because remember, like she told the mom, we're going to get married. We hope you come. And I don't
I thought it
understand.
was for like a month, but I mean, she packed a lot of bags, but she is Nikki. She packed several kinds
Yes.
of curling irons,
Yes.
like with different sized barrels.
Yeah.
Um, and she even had just when she had that phone stand so she could talk to her mom. I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow, she brought everything." I wouldn't bring that if I was going somewhere. Like she brought
No.
everything she needs. There's a whole
She might,
suitcase just of makeup.
yeah. I think she like makes a lot of content, right? So she's got to bring the ring
Yeah.
lights and the stands and the,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Just do like we do at our house, like set the phone up on the fireplace and be like,
Yeah.
I guess that's the right height. I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly.
I do whenever I have to do telehealth though, if I'm at my kitchen table, if I just put my computer down like it's so low that it's so unattractive, I will get like pillows off the couch to raise it up even though it's on the kitchen table. I'm like, this is
So
my
the
doctor doesn't
doctor
care.
thinks you look
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, doctor doesn't judge me for like my double chin. Oh,
I'd be like, "Look how bad I look on this camera. Give me more medicine."
give me medication. Um, all right, well, we can move on to Citra and Sam. Now, I've really been studying Sam's tooth situation because
Yeah,
lots of
yeah.
people do think he just has like no bottom teeth, probably
Right.
from his years of drug use. I can't make hide nor head nor what did I
Molars.
say? Hide or molars of it. I can't figure it out. I can't see that there's no teeth there, but I can't see that there are teeth there
I've
either
never seen a tooth, and I've looked.
in the bottom. You see them on the
On the
top.
bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
But then when we met his dad, and his dad has a very small mandible,
Jaw. Yeah.
it was very confusing. So maybe it is just genetic.
Yeah, and the first thing she said when she saw him was, "I love your tiny face."
Yeah,
'Cause he does have a little tiny face.
he does.
So, all right, so we're in the kitchen, and Citra is making some Indonesian food, and we talk for a solid 4 or 5 minutes about IBS, fiery poop, painful poop. You're gonna feel that coming out. the Indonesian people, they've burned off their tongues. They don't care. It just comes fire right out of their butthole. I'm like, oh my God, we got it. It's so much.
It's so much. And I was fascinated by what she was cooking too, because at one point she blends up a bunch of peppers and
And
onions
garlic. She had like
in
garlic
a
and like,
blender,
yeah. It's like
which I
she was
didn't.
making like a paste that would go on the rice or whatever she was making,
Yeah,
or
she was very
potato.
excited about the rice cooker. It kind of made me want a rice cooker. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds too hot though. That's where it's painful. I couldn't stand that.
Well, yeah,
But
I
she's
don't.
used to it.
Yeah. So there was just, she was like, yeah, and to punish you for not telling me the truth about your,
I'm
possible
gonna
going
give
to
you
jail.
diarrhea.
I'm going to make you shit your pants. Like, that's
Yeah.
fun for our marriage.
It is a
And they
good
just,
way to keep him in line though.
but it's interesting, right? Because it's like, these two really like to talk about it a lot. Like Jasmine and Gino also really like to talk about poop a
Uh-huh.
lot.
The couple that bonds about poop talk.
I
I,
know.
I don't know. Loses a
My
lot of
husband and I
sexiness in the
we
bedroom, I would think.
never talk about that ever.
But
Unless
the
I'm like,
second
so
she
one of us is
landed,
sick, you know?
the
Yeah.
second Citra landed, they talked about how she was holding in a fart and like
Yes.
she could, and it was stuck
Yes.
because she had been sitting the whole time.
Yeah. So that's just their humor. And
That's their
that's
thing.
great. It's great to find somebody that loves to talk about fiery poop coming out of your butt. That's great. I don't want to talk about that.
Uh-uh.
Um, so now with these two, we are 12 days to wed. This does not mean that
Wow.
she's been there the whole time. This just means that they're getting married within 2 weeks, right when she got there. Remember? So, or maybe 3. There's a dog barking somewhere in this house. I'm sorry. So now they're going to head over to see his mom. She's never met his mom. And he kind of says, in a roundabout way, that she abandoned the family when he was a teenager. He was close to his mom when he was little, but then she's been gone for a while and they've been estranged all this time. But she recently resurfaced in Cameron. Resurfaced.
That
Like,
sounds
where has she
bad.
been? Has she been?
Is she doing drugs?
I don't know if she's on drugs or if she's been in like a religious cult, but her house has no furniture.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he still has a lot of like anger, you can tell when he's like, she's one of those Christians that doesn't practice what she preaches, but is
right.
very judgmental of everyone else.
Yeah. And I think she
She's
had
going
been
to
sipping
think
some
Mormons
Jesus
don't
juice.
wash their butts, and she's going to think they don't wash their hands and they're gross.
It was really interesting,
Not
right? I
Mormons,
mean,
Muslims.
Muslims, yeah. And she probably thinks the same about Mormons. But
Yeah,
she was very judgy, but she was very slurry. She did seem like she had some Jesus juice or some Jesus meth,
yeah,
allegedly. I don't
yeah.
know. Um, so he's telling Citra in the car, he's like, my mom is kind of crazy. Okay. So don't judge me based off her behavior. I was like, I think she should just judge you off your own behavior because your
Yeah.
own behavior is not so great. This is when he says in his confessional, he says, my mom's side is very religious. He's like, and I don't really want to say it like this, but here I go. Her family is the kind of people that love to preach, but they don't follow what they preach. And, I don't even know what my mom thinks. He basically is like, my mom is completely backwards. I don't know what she thinks. Like, she thinks maybe Muslims don't wash themselves or they don't use toilet paper. I just am like worried she's going to say like some obscene things.
I
So,
mean,
but by
he
the
thought
way,
Muslims practice Yom Kippur. So,
he did. He did. He wasn't sure
yeah,
about Easter. Did the
yeah.
Muslims celebrate Easter? But it is interesting because when he's saying that about the not washing and the toilet paper and stuff, you're wondering, okay, so did dad, even though he's estranged from the mom, did dad tell the mom, you wouldn't believe it, we had to install this bidet in our house because she doesn't use
Right.
toilet paper. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise,
Mhm.
where would she know about the toilet? You
Right.
know? He's like, I just hope she doesn't say obscene things. So I think mom is very problematic, and we're lucky we got what we got and that she didn't say something way worse or they
Uh-huh.
edited it out.
Uh-huh.
Um, so they drive up to a kind of a decent looking house and she's holding the food that she's bringing.
So
And he
she
goes,
was
oh,
bringing that fiery poop meal to the
mhm.
mom and the grandma?
Yes, yes, yes. I
Is
hope
she
they got
trying to
toilet paper
punish
because
them?
they didn't get any furniture. So I hope they got some TP. Um, So when they arrive at this like nice looking house, he's like, okay, well, this looks okay. This looks decent. And she goes, yeah, it's nice. I think he was surprised that it wasn't like
A crack den?
a crack den or something. He was surprised it was in a decent neighborhood and it looks nice. Now they haven't
Had
gotten
time to
over
wreck
to
it.
they also hadn't gone over to Walmart to grab any furniture or anything. But they go in and the mom is Dee Dee and the grandma's name Trebreh, but they say Treba, to which I wrote Treba like Reba, but it's spelled Trebra. And on
Huh.
Pillow Talk, did you see Robert and Annie? And Robert's like, tree, bruh? What's your name? Like, pass the tree, bruh. Get out the tree, bruh. I was really laughing. But it's like Reba, but it's Treba, grandma.
Okay. Never heard of it.
I've never seen the spelling or anything, so I'm just saying we'll probably never see her again, but I was pretty obsessed with her name. So the house seems empty, and so
I
Citra's
love
like,
her because she seems like she has no idea what's going on.
oh, grandma is just
She's
along for
just
the ride.
dotty.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm. I don't think she could hear was part of her problem because she
Yeah.
kept leaning in like, what?
Yeah.
You're going to marry who? He's like, her. When? So the house is empty. And so Citra goes, oh, did you just move in? And she goes, oh, yeah, we just moved in. And mom says, like, dead serious, yeah, we moved here from North Carolina just for you. And just stares at her. And Citra doesn't get the joke. She's like, okay. And she's like, I'm just kidding with you. Just kidding with you. Do you like my Rugrats t-shirt?
I died. It was a Rugrats t-shirt, but I didn't know what that design was.
I don't know what was happening
Like,
there.
it didn't look like it. I don't know.
A licensed
Yeah.
piece of merch.
Yeah. She got it on Etsy.
Yep. So grandma is nice and is like, now you tell me if he's a bad boy, you're going to marry who? When? She's fine. So then mom can't take it. Dee Dee can't take it. She goes, so you guys are getting ready for the wedding and everything. So what's that going to be like? You're still going to do that? How'd that go with the converting? And he goes, oh, I didn't. We
The
have to find a
Muslim.
mosque. Yeah. How'd you do with that converting to the Muslim? And he goes, oh, we actually haven't done it yet. I've got to find a mosque. We got to get it done pretty soon, actually. And she goes, oh, okay, really? Then she says in her talking head, look, I am happy they're getting married and stuff, but I don't know how to say this, but I don't really believe in that witchcraft. It's like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. She said witchcraft.
I totally thought she was saying something way nicer. Like, there are some things I don't approve of, like witchcraft. I didn't know she was equating Islam, I almost made her mistake, with witchcraft.
I think she's saying to her it's all the same. Anything that is
Yes,
not
anything that's
her
not, yeah.
that
I'd
her
love
level
to.
of Christian
I
is
want to know what
witchcraft.
she has to say about my people.
Oh God.
Bring it
Oh
on.
God. Bring it on. So she says she doesn't really believe in the witchcraft. And she says, I got to be honest with you. I would love for her family to believe in the same God that I do. I would love that. I would love that, but I don't
Oh my
know.
God.
And then she goes, I approve of them marrying, but not in the Muslim way. And but I think they're going to be fine. And the producer says, seems like to me you're praying for a different outcome. And she goes, maybe I am. Maybe I am.
I have so many issues
So
right now.
I
You
know.
think that being Christian is the best, even though you don't follow the rules of Christianity, apparently.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You think that your son shouldn't have to switch religions for love, but you want
Mm-hmm.
Citra to switch religions.
Right. It would be okay if Citra switched, but it's not okay for
Right.
him to switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not like, if he was like he was like always involved in the youth group and was like super big in the church and everything, it would be one thing to ask him to sort of change his beliefs. But he's sort of like, I'm just agnostic. I don't care. And if
Uh-huh.
she wants me to
Yeah.
convert so we can get married, it's fine with me.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to be active in any kind of religion. So if it's important for her family that I convert, then I will.
Yeah. I get that.
But mom, I guess, thinks because this is the way she believes, then this is the way he believes, but he really doesn't. But You could tell. I mean, they were, like, leaning against the wall. There was no furniture. It was so awkward. It was so
It really
awkward.
was. They were just standing in the foyer, like,
Yeah.
just
There was
where
nowhere to
do we
sit.
go? Should I sit on the
Yeah.
stairs? What's
Yeah.
happening?
It was really strange. And did you see too when they were doing their like ITM, they were standing there together. He was standing behind her with his arms around her like they were in like a prom pose. I was like, "What are you doing? This
That's
is
a
the only
little
time you
too
can."
close to
It is.
Christian and Cleo, where his hand was on her stomach like she was pregnant.
Yeah, Christian and Cleo, by the way, Cleo posts a lot. She posted recently all about their breakup, and then she just posted recently all about how they're back together and they're so happy.
No!
Yeah, and they love each other so much. No, I'm not kidding. She posted a picture, like, of their hands together and their kissing faces and all that. I don't know. She's like, "No one understands our love but us,"
No,
and
we don't. We
I'm like,
don't.
yeah, and it's like, just people come into your life for a reason, and we found each other. It's a lot of that. It's a lot of, like, pictures of sunsets and, their love and whatnot.
I'm literally crying from choking and and from my being upset for Cleo. I love Cleo. She deserves so much better.
I agree. I agree. You guys know I love high-end luxury goods as much as the next person, but unfortunately, my wallet isn't always on the same page. That was until I found Quince. Quince is my go-to place for luxury essentials at prices that are within reach. I've told you guys about Quince, and I'm going to keep telling you about Quince. They create the timeless classics that never go out of style. You can create a capsule wardrobe in your closet, right? Where you just have the basics that always look good because they're always timeless. Don't you have somebody whose style that you look at them and you go, every time they always look on point? It's because they have these capsule wardrobes with these pieces that just go with everything. And the best part about Quince is all the items are priced 50 to 80% below similar brands. I've told you, when you go on there and you look at the Mongolian cashmere sweater or you look at a leather handbag, look at the little chart that they have that tells you the exact same item sold elsewhere and the price difference. It'll blow your mind. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. And of course, I love that. Let me tell you what, if I wouldn't have had those Quince socks on my trip to Europe, and I'm not even kidding you, they are the best socks I've ever owned in my life. I also took 2 Mongolian cashmere sweaters with me. They were so cute and so versatile. One had a hood and one was more like a cardigan. I also took a pair of black ponte pants. I think that's how you say it. These just really nice black pants. And I wore them in 12 days. I think I wore them 6 or 7 times because they look perfect with no matter what you put them on with. And I got a little pair of black flat tennis shoes that also did the trick. I looked great. I looked like maybe I belonged in Paris or London and not like a tourist. Anyway, you guys have got to check out Quince, and then I want you to let me know what you got. I love when people send me the pictures of what they got, like especially if they're your kids or if you got a cute handbag, just let me know. So get affordable luxury with Quince. Go to quince.com/pinkshade for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/pinkshade to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/pinkshade. Well, if you're feeling better, we could talk about Manuel and Ashley. These 2 horn dogs.
Oh my god, next week?
I know.
That poor friend. She's just
I
sitting in
know.
the parking lot while they're
I
boning in a
know.
bathroom.
I know.
So
Bless.
she has a big surprise for him. She's invited his best friend Jonathan, who lives in New York City and hasn't seen him in over 7 years. And it's very suspicious that he has so many friends and family living in her state.
Mhm.
What do
Yeah.
you think
New
about
York
that?
City. Well,
Coincidence?
maybe lots of people from Ecuador when they come over,
Go
New York is
to
a maybe
Mhm.
there's a big community in New York and,
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
when you say New York City, it could be the Bronx, it could be Queens, it could be Harlem, it could be, you know, any part of New York City. There may be a whole big, enclave of
That's
people from
true.
Ecuador.
That is very true. So she asks Jonathan how he learned English, and Jonathan says, on the street. And Jonathan says, Manuel, you should be learning. You have the best teacher here. And Manuel says, yeah, she never shuts up like a parrot. And Jonathan's like, well, repetition, that's how you learn. And they're all joking around. It's very cute,
Yeah,
making fun of
it's cute.
Ashley.
Wait, they
And
said they
then
hadn't seen each other in 7 years. It was his best friend.
I know. Well, Clayton's never met his best friend.
And that's been 15 years, so that's a
15
great point.
years.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought this was very thoughtful of her. She said, when I visit Ecuador, I start to feel like I want to speak English with someone and I want a
Mhm.
taste of home. And I feel like he might be at that point because he hates my friends. So it's not like he's met people here that he likes. So I brought Jonathan on. I want them to spend time together. I thought it was
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah.
So Jonathan and Manuel start talking, and Jonathan's like, I can't believe you're getting married. And Manuel says, well, we do fight a lot about mostly money. She spends money on stupid things like her pets, like those, like that dumb dog, Rico Suave. I get it. It's a total cultural thing that we spend
Yeah,
more on our pets than we do on ourselves in this country. And
yeah,
that's not how other countries are.
yeah.
So Jonathan says, I get it. Where we come from, the emphasis is give money to your family. But now he has this perspective. He's been in the United States, so he understands both sides. He says, here the lifestyle is different and you're living here now, so I think you have to get used to it. And at this point I noticed that Manuel's hair is like parted in the middle and curled at the
Yeah,
bottom, and it's very
uh-huh.
long. It's like he's wearing a British barrister's wig, or he is in Hamilton and there's like a little pony in the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't take him seriously.
I did notice his changing hairdo in his confessional because he's in the blue shirt the whole time, but it's like sometimes it's curled up right at the
Yeah.
temple, and
Uh-huh.
then sometimes it's flat. But I will
Right.
tell you that I was studying him a lot closer on this episode. I think it's because I watched it more than once, like pretty closely. I was like, he is pretty cute.
He totally is cute. The hair
Yeah.
really takes it away from me, and so does his attitude. But
Hmm.
he's very good looking, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
So he says, look, I have 4 pairs of pants, 4 shirts. That's all you need. You just wash them.
Yeah.
More do you need? And Jonathan's like, it's true. In the US, we consume way too much. I have 20 pairs of shoes. And if I go out and I'm shopping and I see a pair that I like, I'm going to buy them and then I'll have 21 pairs. It's
Hmm.
ridiculous, but that's how we do it here. And Manuel says, I feel tired and frustrated. She doesn't suffer hardships. She hasn't had struggles. And that is, instead of being happy for her that she hasn't, he thinks that makes her a worse person, I think.
Yeah, I mean, same with Rob and Sophie. He's like,
Yeah,
I hate you people because you haven't struggled.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he and get me started on Rob. I'm going to go off on a
Rob.
diatribe about Rob.
Okay, good. I can't wait.
So he is homesick for Ecuador, and he's stuck. He says, I'm stuck here facing bullets with my chest.
It's
Okay,
pretty
you're
dramatic.
living in New York State with a witch and her Yorkie. It's not that bad.
Yeah, you have a nice house with electricity and running water and
Also,
an
that would be a
indoor
great
bathroom.
show
Yeah.
for TGIF. Like right after Family Matters, it would be a witch and her Yorkie and her Ecuadorian lover. I can totally see it. Step by step, my
Ah,
witch, my Yorkie.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
then the three of them go out and they're joking around, and then Ashley ruins the mood, as she tends to do. We're having so much fun. Let's talk about our money problems, Jonathan. Can you explain why he gets so mad that I spend on myself because he wants me to spend it all on his family? And
Mhm.
she says, we've sent them money twice in 3 months, and they were lucky to get that, which was super bitchy of her. I have to admit, the tone, then that sets him off. The way she's like, they
Yeah.
were lucky to get that.
Yeah, but it's the thing with her with the turning, right? It's like everything's fine, and then all of a sudden she's just like got such an
Uh-huh.
attitude. She's just like,
Yeah.
I'm only going to spend money on things for me, and I'm not going to help you. And like, okay, relax.
Yeah. There
You can
has to
you
be a
can
middle ground.
yes. There's no back and forth with her. You
Yeah.
know.
And she says, we're sending money from me out of my bank account to a family that he's keeping me separate from. That's, she should
That's a
have
good
delved
point.
deeper into that because that's a really good point. He hasn't introduced her to the kids. He really does not have her talk to the family. And so I think if she felt more involved, then
Yeah,
she would not mind sending them money.
that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah.
So they start arguing, and he basically calls her selfish and says she only thinks about herself. And she storms off crying. She's very hurt. And she's like railing by the bathrooms. I am supporting him. I am feeding him. I'm housing him. I'm giving him love. We bang it out several times a day. What more can I, how else can I support him?
She's like, his cell phone, his food, his vagina, all of it I'm
All of
providing.
it.
Yeah.
I brought him here on my back, and what he doesn't appreciate it. So, yeah, we'll get to what happens next week because I'm very not excited to watch it.
And she says no cosigners. She's like, no
Oh,
cosigners.
yeah,
I'm
no
doing it all
cosigner.
myself.
Yeah.
You don't hear that a lot on this show. A lot of people have to get somebody to cosign because it's a
Yeah.
big commitment. You have to prove
She
that you
has
can.
money.
Yeah.
She must be very successful with her witchcraftery, tarot,
Yeah.
and all of that stuff.
She posted something about it today, actually, that I noticed. Probably because I was watching the show and the phone heard it and then put up the post of
Yeah.
her. But it was like something about, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever, I left the corporate world. It was, I didn't want to have this job and started my own business. And here's to X amount of years of being successful and you can do it and
Good for her.
read below. Yeah. So good. Yeah. The witching business has been
Yeah.
profitable for her.
Mm-hmm. Those prosperity spells.
Um, yes. So let's go to Jasmine and Gino. So we start off with Jasmine, who is balancing these giant birds on her arms and yells at Gino, "Help me, Gino! Don't be a pussy!" Um, he's like, I don't want to touch those birds. My God! And then she goes,
Was
"Did
there
you
an
see how
owner
brave?"
there of the birds, or was it just like random birds that you can pose with?
I think this is like a Miami thing, like when you
There
go to New
was
York
must have been
City,
a dude there.
yeah, when you go to New York and you get off-brand Elmo that you got to take the
Mhm.
picture with, and then they
Mhm.
accost you if you don't pay them.
Mhm.
Um, So she's balancing the birds and yelling at Gino. And she's like, "Oh my God, Gino, I almost lost an eye. I almost kissed him though. Would you still marry me if I lost an eye?" And he goes, "No." She's in Miami. She didn't care. He just said he wouldn't even marry her. She lost an
Yeah.
eye. And she was like, "Oh, Gino, I love it here." Yeah.
Ah,
They are having such a good time.
such a good
So I
time.
just moved to Miami. This is where you guys need to be. So they go to a salsa dancing lesson, and we've got lots of, chatter and flashbacks to Gino in his Tivas trying to learn how to dance. And in this salsa dancing lesson, he does a good job. And she is so nice and so happy. And like, look at you. Oh, like, it's like this is like a whole new person.
Is she seeing what I'm seeing? Because his face, when they're dancing, his mouth is open. He's
Yeah.
squealing like in a high pitched squeal. Is that his sex face? Because how does she look
Mm.
at that and take it seriously?
He does that high pitched thing all the time though. He'll go, "Wow, Jasmine." He does that. When he gets excited, he goes, "Ah, yeah, you're a bad, bad girl, Jasmine." You
Oh
know?
my
Oh, so in his talking head, he's like, it feels like the old Jasmine and Gino, like we're back. We're having so much fun together. Okay. It's because you're in Miami.
Yeah.
Look
I
around.
don't
Look
also
around.
know what times he's talking about when they had all this fun together because I do not recall.
I don't recall times where they had fun together either, but maybe at the beginning seasons they did have fun and we have just forgotten.
Maybe.
We've been so traumatized. So they're on a pier and she takes some selfies and a video to send to Wance and she says, Wance really wants me to send him these things and she says, "Look at this. Here's a text that he sent and it says, I love Papa Gino. Tell Papa Gino I'm learning English." And he's like, "Oh my God, that's so great." And she's like, "Yes, he's doing so great." And Gino says, "Well, I can't wait, for them to all come over and, I could be like a bonus dad, but I'd really like to be like a real dad." And she goes, "Well, you would be like a real dad." He goes, "But I mean, I'd like to one day have a child of my own. And I'm in my mid 50s now. And I think we should do it soon." And Then she says she's just not ready right now. Plus they're not even married yet. Plus they haven't even settled, and she does not want to have a baby in Michigan. So
Well,
she's, she's 36 or whatever. So she says, Gino, I'm just not ready. And then she explains to us about personal fears. And she says she has a lot of pain that she carries inside, and Gino doesn't really understand or know what she went through. So then she starts talking to Gino, and we know she has a son, JC, who has special needs. It's hard for him to communicate verbally. So we don't know what his special needs are. We're not going to guess. But she says, having a child with special needs has been very hard. She says, people can be very mean, and she's learned that. People don't have tolerance, and she's glad that maybe her son doesn't even realize sometimes what's going on, but she does. People stare, they give them ugly looks. If he's acting up in a restaurant, even the staff will be rude. It hurts her a lot when she hears other people talking about things their kids are doing, because she knows her kid will never get to do that. And she worries if they have a baby. Of course, she would worry like that this would happen again, that she would go through it again. And he hugs her and he was like, well, this is still, your child is still a human being, and we still love him and we'll take care of him.
yeah,
And she says, well,
he handled it well.
He handled it really well. And she says, I don't know, there are other people in this house that could take care of the dogs barking, so I apologize. So she says she worries that JC's disabilities are her fault. And he says, no, that's not your fault. Why would you say that? And she goes, the doctor can't even tell us why. That's obviously like a huge thing on her heart, that as much as we make fun of Jasmine and everything, like she's got this disabled child. The doctors are never able to give her a reason for it. So she probably does carry that guilt on her. Like somehow she did something wrong just because she's the mother,
I wonder if that's partially why she lives separate from them. Because she
Yeah.
like puts a distance there because she can't stand
We
to.
don't know if she does. We just know during filming, she
That's
was
true.
like not, maybe they're there with her all the time. She's never said anything bad about the dad of these kids or anything. She just will say like he's with the dad or whatever.
Yeah.
She's never said he was, I can't remember if she's ever said he was awful.
No,
But it
I
seems
think
like
he's good and
he's
supportive.
an involved
I think
father. Yeah,
they get better care there than she can provide.
maybe so. And she says, in the talking head, he goes, it makes me really sad, to see Jasmine like this. And I want to assure her that I'll always be there for her. Like, I'm not going to leave her and all this. Now, she did post this week a really interesting picture of herself in some pink lingerie standing in some snow, and was like, thank you to Sheen Clothing or whatever it was. It was
Oh my
real
God.
interesting.
So
Yeah.
she's in Michigan still.
Obviously. She's always playing with the social media, trying to get you to figure out where she is. But
Yeah.
I think people said they thought they broke up, but I think they're still together.
She hasn't posted with him.
No, but she wasn't really posting with him before either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, let's move on.
I felt bad for her. She obviously cares about the kids. I know I'm mean about it, but
no, I just think I just think on these shows, like on
we don't
Love
know
After
the whole
Lockup,
circumstance.
like a Love After Lockup, for example, Melissa and Louis, she has a daughter that she has, full custody of, is her 16-year-old daughter that she's very close with. It's never been on the show. She's never even mentioned she has a daughter.
Yeah, that's true.
But we know she has a daughter from her social media. So it's sort of like you don't know if the dad has said,
Right.
or if when they're filming, she's like, no, we're not going to film my son, or I'm going to pretend that I live with my sister/daughter, whatever
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
We don't know, because filming is it's not always what it seems.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Let's move on to Anali and Clayton. Whew, this is rough.
Cheeky?
Cheeky?
So their hero shot is still, I think it was before, where he takes her hand and she like pulls it away very dramatically.
I like the ones where I like the ones where they stand back to back and cross their arms over their chest.
Yeah.
That's like it's like a Backstreet Boys,
Yeah.
Backstreet's back. All right. And they pose with their arms over their chest. Yeah.
So we see him in bed, just so sad, like snuggling with a stuffed animal. And on the screen, it says 59 days without sex. The editors,
Instead of like 12 days to wed or whatever,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
exactly.
so funny.
The
So
editors are
funny.
so shady. So this is not that she's been there for 59 days, or has she? Or is this including the last time he visited and they did have sex?
I think she's been there 59
You think she's
days.
been there 59 days and they still haven't
Yeah.
had sex?
Yes, I do. I do.
So they had this big fight the night before because he told the waitress that they weren't having sex and he told the whole restaurant basically. He's basically
Mhm.
stood up and had a toast. This is my girlfriend and she won't have sex with me. So he doesn't think it was oversharing. He thinks I was just opening up to my best friend that I finally met in real life, Cameron. And
Mhm.
so he's making breakfast to smooth things over. He is drinking apple juice. I have never seen a grown man drink apple juice. Have you?
Hmm. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think when we go on vacation, sometimes my husband will always come back about, look at this. They've got mango juice. He always loves to go on vacation. They've got like an interesting juice. I don't like a juice at all, but I don't think I've ever seen him. The only grown man I know who drinks juice, I don't think I've ever seen him drink apple juice.
Thank
Never.
you. Mango
Mm-mm.
juice is fine. Any juice is fine except for grape and apple because those are what you get in a little juice box in school.
Yeah, you're right. You're
So
right.
if you're trying to be sexy for her, Clayton, the apple juice is not
Oh,
doing it. And then
well,
he puts mayo on his breakfast sandwich and she's just utterly disgusted. She just has just like she's smelling something bad all the time when she's looking at him.
he's
And then
really, really, he grosses her out
he
completely.
does, he really does.
Yeah.
And then he takes a bite and he has this freaking piece of egg on his lip that he just doesn't feel. I don't know how he feels. It's like half of an egg is on his
Yeah.
face
Yeah.
and he doesn't. And she's like, "You have something there. What? Wipe it. It's gross. Wipe it."
Ugh.
So she says very calmly, "What you said last night was not appropriate. And I didn't like it." And he says, "Well, I just talk about what's on my mind." And at that moment, randomly, sex popped into my head. So I just said it. And she's like, "You could talk about it with Cameron when I'm not there, but don't do it in front of me and in
Yeah.
front of a strange waitress
And a camera crew
and
and a girl you
Cameron's,
just met. Yeah.
Cameron's girlfriend."
Yeah.
So he gives her a piece of bacon and apologizes. Which I think is how you apologize in the animal kingdom. I think he's like studied his guinea pigs, and one of them will like give another one a piece of hay or whatever. Here you go.
If you gave me a piece of bacon, I would accept your apology. I like
So
that.
he tells her, whilst eating with his mouth full, again,
Uh-huh.
he's not sexy, that
Uh-uh.
he and Cameron are preparing a surprise for the wedding. And she's like, "So Cameron's your new girlfriend." And he says, "Well, you can be our sister wife." And it's cute. It's funny when they joke about this.
Yes, I think they have good banter when they're funny, but she just is not attracted to him.
No, she's not. I sh
Mm-mm.
I need to know what it was like before. Like, they did have
Right.
sex before, so was she attracted to him, or was he always having to coax her into it?
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like before everything was fine. And then
Yeah,
once she got here and she saw a closet mom, she was like, no way. I can't
yeah.
do this. Yeah.
So, he goes to meet Cameron, who is again wearing those calf-high black socks, and they keep showing them. I don't they're really trying to tell us something with that, and I don't know what it is.
It's like
Oh, good.
it's like it's Kanye West's new shoe sock situation. Like it's all
Yeah,
a shoe and a sock. It's all the same. It's like, are you trying to tell us he's on the cutting edge of fashion, or are you trying to
right.
tell us he's got a bad haircut? I'll tell you that much.
It's not my favorite. It's very much like, there's
Kid
somebody
and
from
play.
that. Yes, Kid and Play,
Kid
yes.
and play. I knew you were gonna say kid and play. Yes.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
So, they're taking Peruvian dance lessons to surprise her at the wedding, which is actually very sweet. I thought this was a great idea.
Yeah, I did too.
Um, and they have to dance with this, like, prop with this giant hat, but I didn't really understand. I assumed they would either be learning a dance that the 2 of them were gonna do, he and Cameron as, like, a best
Mm.
man dance.
Yeah.
But then he starts dancing, couples dancing with the instructor. So is she, Anali, supposed to just jump in and dance at the wedding and know this dance?
Right. Is it something that if you're from Peru, everybody knows this
Everybody
dance, so she'll be
knows.
able to jump in and do it? It's their national dance, and it's required learning in elementary school. I don't know.
Right. Or is he doing the partner's dance, but only his side of it, where he's like holding out an arm, but no one's there?
Right, but then yeah, that would I don't think that would work at the
And
wedding.
at one point, Cameron stops dancing. Cameron's just watching. So then I thought, oh, maybe Cameron isn't part of the dance. Anyways, we'll find out at the wedding if they get married.
Mm, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So then they go to chat after some bro time, and Cameron is concerned about the no sex thing, but more so that her dad doesn't know. That is a bigger concern. And
Mhm.
Clayton says, yeah, I've thought about giving her an ultimatum where she has to tell her dad, but I don't think that'll work. That's also a bad
It
sign for your relationship.
never works.
So Cameron says, she clearly has some uncertainty about you, and I don't want you to get hurt. Cameron is a very good video game friend. It's hard to tell someone, I think she's just not that into you.
He is a very good friend, and I'm glad that it turned out since this is Clayton's only friend,
Yeah.
I'm glad he turned out to be a good friend.
Yeah. So Clayton and Annalie then have a happy dancing hero shot, and he's doing this like wiggly guinea pig shaking his butt dance.
Uh-huh.
Super sexy.
Always.
Cheeky, cheeky. And
Oh my
so
god.
Cameron goes over to the rental house to say goodbye to Annalie. I'll see you at the wedding.
Mhm.
And Clayton is just, gosh, I'm so glad I met Cameron. He's my new in-person best friend, and he's so giddy about it. I hope he thanks Annalie because this was all her doing. He would have
Yeah.
never met him. It would have been like 40 years, and he
Well,
never
what
would
if
have
he
met him.
yeah, and he would've, like, come to the wedding and been like, "Oh, there's my best man. I just met him 4 minutes ago."
Or
Yeah.
he'd have him
I'm
on a
so
camera
yeah.
screen, like
Right.
Michael at Last Resort.
Just roll him around like a big
Yeah.
iPad on a stick. Yeah, right.
Uh-huh. So he grilled some steaks for her and some pre-made mashed potatoes. No shame, still delicious. I don't care. I'd eat them.
Okay.
And she brings up, or they sit down, and right when they're about to eat, before she takes the first bite, why haven't you told your dad about me? And
Mhm.
she shuts him down. She gives him this death stare. It's very much like, we agreed we weren't going to talk about this. Don't bring it up on camera. Like, she
Mhm.
doesn't want to talk about it. And she's holding a steak knife. It's very scary. And she's like, why are you trying to ruin our nice dinner? And he says, you said you were going to tell him. Then you said you were going to tell him. And then you said, it's always an excuse. When are you going to tell him? And he might die before you tell him. And she goes, are you wishing death for my father? That's not what he said, but
I know. Yeah.
and then she storms off without eating any of the food that he just made, and she goes to the bathroom to cry. And it's a very strange reaction. And
Yeah.
he says, I'm starting to worry. Like, why is she crying? Seems like she's scared. Is she in danger? Do I have to go to Peru and fight off her dad or something? Like, what's going on? And she is just so angry that he keeps bringing it up, but also crying. It's very strange. And she also keeps acting like he brings this up all the time. And from what we've seen, he's brought it up twice in 60 days, which is
He
not
brings
a
up the
lot.
sex he brings up the sex way more.
Way more. Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's something way more going on here.
there
And
is.
I don't
What
know
is
what
it?
it is.
I don't know. I mean, she
It's
said her
making her look
dad's
very
protective.
shady.
Yeah, her dad's super protective, and
I
that's
don't
why
buy.
she hasn't told him. She's gonna tell him after she gets
Then
married?
why is
Like,
she crying when he brings it up? Like, I just don't. It's
I don't
very
get it.
weird.
I agree. I
Something
agree, ma
is.
something is amiss.
Uh-huh. Does she have a husband there?
Oh, well, that'd be a twist.
Is this a
That'd be a problem.
Jenny and Submit situation?
Oh. Alright, let's go on to your favorite couple, Sophie and Rob.
Oh.
Oh, these 2 lovebirds. So, we open with where we left off 3 weeks ago with them, which is the fight at this. sex shop where the woman propositioned them about having a three-way, and they got in a fight about that. Now,
Oh,
we
and
did
one
have
of
a
your
bunch
listeners did
mhm,
come forward on Facebook.
and said that she had worked in a shop like this, and absolutely under no circumstance would this ever have happened. An employee would never obviously
Yeah.
proposition a couple or person or anything. Like,
Yeah.
you're there to be professional and to help the customers, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not also a brothel, you
Right.
know? Um, and I appreciated that. So, they just make up in the car, and he's like, "Here's one thing I love about Sophie, like, we can have these fights, but, she's ride or die, like, she'll listen to me, and, like, we make it up, and everything's fine, and then everything's fine. Give me a kiss, and everything's fine." I was like, "What? Okay." They're so young. I mean, she's 23, he's
Yeah.
32, but yeah, but he acts 23.
Mhm.
So now they're making dinner in room is what I call
It's Brie Larson. It's
it.
Room.
They're in room. And he's like, "I got the chicken, the potatoes, the veggies," and she's like, "I don't know where we're gonna chop anything." And he, like, pulls out a TV tray and was like, "We're gonna do it right here." And she was like, "Yeah, yeah." He goes, "See, this is great because, like, you couldn't do this in a regular kitchen." She was like, "What? Sit at a TV tray and chop vegetables?" And he's just trying to make excuses for everything, right? It's like everything for him is like, "We're lucky. We're lucky we have a TV tray to chop vegetables on. What are you talking about? This is the best
He's
kitchen
like
ever."
he's like a dad who took his family camping, and he's, like, trying to convince them how great it is. Like, "Look, we're
Yeah.
sitting on the ground. Isn't that fun? We can't do this at home."
Yeah, you're right. It's exactly what it is. He's trying so hard to convince himself and everyone around him that this is great, and the problem is you, that you don't think
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
So, they're working on this dinner, and
Also,
mom
they
said,
keep putting stuff on the stove. They're also using the stove as a prep area, but the stove
yeah,
is heated up. So they
yeah,
have her phone is on the stove at one point. I
yeah, and
thought
a
it was gonna
plastic bag,
explode.
like a plastic bag full of I was like, "The
I
plastic
saw
is
the
going to melt."
peppers. There's the peppers in a plastic grocery bag
Yeah,
on that's gonna melt everywhere. I was so concerned.
and then she touched, "Oh, why is this hot?" He's like, "'Cause it's on top of the oven. The oven heats up, and that makes the top of the stove hot." That place is not up to code. I would not sleep there.
No,
So,
there's if
um,
there's gonna be a gas leak one night, I hope they have a carbon monoxide detector. He's tossing veggies in a bowl with Saran wrap, which I guess is like a cleanup hack, but I don't love it. But maybe some people do it. Maybe it's fine.
why is it a cleanup hack? I don't understand.
Because instead of having to clean the bowl, you just pull out the Saran wrap and then toss it. It's not good for the environment.
Oh, I thought the Saran wrap was only on the top, and he was just
No, it
using
was
it to
like
shake like a
lining
salad.
it was lining the bowl.
Oh, huh.
He
Okay.
has a huge sink. It's one of those, like, sinks that would be in a garage or, like, a
Yeah.
laundry room.
Yes. It's for, like, paintbrushes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so mom sends a text that she's, landing soon or is about to land or whatever. And then we see mom, whose name is Claire, we see her past rants on Rob. She says, "He's stupid. He's grumpy. He's the epitome of a knob. He bored me. He gets on my nerves. He's like, blah. He's jobless. He's boring. He has no sympathy. You can't marry him, Sophie." So she's not a fan.
She's
Not a
not
fan.
wrong. She's not wrong.
So she goes, "Are you looking forward to seeing my mom?" And he goes, "Sure. But we're not cruising right now. Like, we've got some bumps in the road. And I want to be sure she doesn't add any stress. And the wedding is 3 weeks away." So then he says they sit together for a confessional, and he says, "Claire being here is just like a wrench being tossed in. Your mom doesn't know when to shut up and when it's time to be quiet." And she goes, "Oh my God, that's so rude." And he goes, "I'm gonna tell you something. She says some problematic things at the wrong times." And she goes, "Wow, what if I said that about your mom? She should just shut up and be quiet." And he's like, "My mom doesn't do that shit." And he says, "Claire brings more drama than is needed, and I hope she doesn't bring in her brand of bullshit." Wow.
He is going in with a
Wow.
good attitude.
Wow. When he says your mom doesn't know when to be quiet and shut up, it's not what you say to somebody about their mother.
What has she said that's problematic, though?
Well, that she hates him and he's boring and he's a knob and he's jobless and, you know. I mean, because I think that when they were in the 2 months they were in Mexico, the mom came for 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
he
that's
did get
true.
to be around her
So,
quite a bit.
yeah.
And probably looks like mom, might enjoy a Sauvignon Blanc and
Uh-huh.
has some things to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it seems like they get in the car and it's like it seems like they're headed to the airport to get Claire, to which I say, how is this going to happen in a 2-seater? But they are in fact meeting her at her hotel.
Yeah.
So I
Because
was like, are
she's
they going to
not
strap
staying
her?
in the one room she's not staying in room that
She
has
can't
a
stay in room.
outdoor toilet.
Mm-mm. So they walk in and mom's crying. It's like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Oh my God, you smell like flower blossoms. Hi, Rob. Um, And she says, Rob, you're stealing my baby. I'll kill you if you hurt her. And he's like, okay, good to see you. Yeah. So in the talking head, Claire tells us, Rob is immature. He needs to step up. And that's what I think about Rob. And she's not wrong. And he is 32 years old.
Yeah.
So he says, they're talking about the wedding. He goes, yep, it's going to be on the 16th. And they're all three of them like, we don't know how to do a wedding. We don't know anything about weddings. Like, good thing they've got a sister or whatever. And she goes, do you still do the thing? You do something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. And he's like, no, I think that's like an old thing. She goes, no, I think that you do. And you still do the thing like where you throw the bouquet. And she was like, well, it's going to be really small. And Rob goes, I mean, my sister's going to be there, but she's already married. So I don't know, like, who would care to catch the bouquet if you're going to do that? And he goes, maybe it'll be between you and my mom because she's not married. And then they all laugh and they're joking. And Claire's like, yeah, I'll have to knock your mom to the floor. Like they're joking, like they're making very
It's
typical,
absolutely joking. And I was like, this is going so well.
yeah, joking like what you do about, I'm going to knock that girl to the floor to catch the bouquet. Like just
Funny. Haha.
wedding jokes. And they all laugh. And he goes, yeah, my mom is like, that's hilarious. Like my mom is tiny. Like she's not aggressive. Like she wouldn't do that. And he kind of laughs. Then it turns into this whole thing. Claire's like, do you think I would knock a woman to the floor? And he was like, no, but you said you're going to knock my mom to the floor. And I was joking that my mom's tiny. And then like, they can't get out of this like cycle of like, you made a joke and now you're picking it apart,
They are jumping on Rob like he called her aggressive because he
Yes.
was joking because you said you were going to knock his mom to the floor. It was a joke. The whole thing was a joke, but when they want it to stop, it stops and
Yeah.
they turn on him.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you
And so
would be constantly on edge that
that's what he
anything you
says.
say, I get it. That was very strange. And I was team
Yeah.
Rob for once.
I was too, because then I could see where he would be like, okay, because he goes, I'm always on edge because they joke around, but then they turn it around. And, with the two of them, I'm always one word away from saying the wrong thing. Now, he's one word away from saying the wrong thing because he says the wrong thing all the time.
Yeah, true.
But in this particular case, it was kind of telling that this is maybe why he's so on edge.
And why did
Um,
Sophie jump in and agree with her mom? Like,
I know. And I don't like too, and all the flashbacks they showed of mom saying all that awful stuff about Rob. I don't like how she's like, stop talking about him. Like quit saying that like I'm going to marry him. She just laughs when her
she
mom
just laughs. Yeah.
talks about how awful he is. So Clara goes, well, you're mad. And I can tell from your body language that you hate me. He was like, what? He's like, I'm just sitting here. Like, no, it's not, And Sophie goes, he doesn't get us, mom. He doesn't get our British humor. And he goes, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You sure? That's what it is. All right. Um, and then
And the
he goes,
mom goes, I don't think he gets humor, period.
yeah, because she thinks he's boring. And he goes, oh, I get you. I get both of you.
Yeah.
Like he's looking at him like, I see what's happening here. You piling up on me like I get it.
Yeah.
And Claire goes, well, I'm excited to see your house tomorrow. And then she tells us like, I can tell they're not excited for me, And then she tells us like she gets it. Rob is lovely. He's beautiful, but you can only look at a beautiful painting for so long and then you get bored.
Wow.
So she's not wrong about that, but I
No,
didn't like
she's
how
not.
I didn't
We
like how
thought he
they
was
turned.
hot at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah. I still think he's hot.
Yeah.
All right, so now it's 24 days to wed. And Sophie is helping Rob fix his hair. And he tells her when Claire arrives, he's going to be nice. He's like, but you need to like remind your mom, like I can hear it. Like she doesn't need to make the digs. Like you can remind her, like, and she goes, all right. So they walk in and he goes, see, flower covered trellis, like nice courtyard. And she goes, yeah. And they just talk about this courtyard and this entryway like it is Versailles. They cannot quit talking about how great it is. And so Sophie goes, so here's where we come in. Here's the entrance and here's our courtyard and also the bathroom. That's the second door on the right. Don't look in the first door on the right. The second door on the right
There are
is the
bodies on
bathroom.
that first door on
Yes.
the right.
And she's like, okay, so you have a bathroom that's not in the house. Okay. She already knew that. She
Yeah,
was trying to,
yeah.
yeah.
Like Sophie didn't tell her.
And then we see room and mom goes, okay, all right. And she's like, yeah, here's like our chilling area. Here's like the kitchen area. Here's where we keep the TV tray. And here's where my clothes are. And mom goes, so, all right. So it's a man cave. Basically, it's a man cave. And that's exactly what it is. It's like a man cave that would be like in the basement, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she goes, so is it safe to be here? And he goes, yeah, it's safe to be here. Yeah, what are you talking about? Didn't you see the courtyard? Like it's safe.
There were flowers.
And Sophie goes, we heard gunshots 2 nights ago. So Sophie is not
Don't tell
helping.
the mom that.
Mm-mm. And mom says, listen, this is your home and it's beautiful, but I don't know how to keep this to how am I going to say it? Okay, I'm just going to say it. You knew she was coming. So why didn't you look into getting a bigger place? And he goes, I spent so much of my money and my time on our relationship, like traveling and all that. And obviously like the K1 visa too. And mom goes, yeah, but in those 2 years, don't you think you should have been a real man and save that money and say like, we can't see each other because I'm trying to save money to get us into a good place for when you get here. And he goes, I don't want to hear that real man stuff. He says, we should deal with, when she got here, we're going to deal with the spot we're in. We're dealing with this spot. And then we can find a new spot together. Like that's going to be what's financially responsible. And she's like, well, she can't work. So, and you don't have a job, obviously. So
this is where we're really hearing it because we had been like, does he have a job? At one point he said he was going to work and we're like, is he?
Yeah.
Is he an influencer? What is he?
No.
Is he a physical trainer person? What's happening?
No, I think he just pieces together odd jobs.
Yeah.
And Sophie in her talking head goes, I totally agree with my mom, everything she's saying, but Rob is being so defensive, like this is really rough. So Sophie says, I got to agree with my mom, which is just, no, don't do this. She says, you knew I was coming and you didn't have a job. You don't have any job security. You didn't have an apartment for us. And he gets all mad. He's all mad. And he's got 2 people ganging up on him. And he goes, y'all have never been at the bottom. Y'all don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to be at the bottom. I have zero help from anybody. Like if I get to the bottom, I can't just call somebody like you can. And she's like, you don't know my life. And I don't always have help. He's like, yes, you do. Like you're lying. And he says, this is what he says that irritates me. He says, I'm not confrontational and I'm really trying not to be. He says, I am confrontational. I'm trying not to be, but they're just bringing it out in me. They're bringing it out in me, which I'm like, you can control your own emotions, but
yeah,
it's very hard because you can see how they're picking at him.
Yeah.
But he also is so defensive. He's so defensive.
If he had just said, I understand that this is not ideal and I feel like I'm trying to save up money and we can pick out a place and I know she deserves better and we're going to do this. Maybe I should have done it earlier, but I was spending so much money traveling because I wanted to see her. He just is so defensive and rude. And I'm sorry that you're at the bottom, but that's BS because he hasn't been working and I don't think he's been trying. And because he wants to be an Instagram model. I guarantee you the grocery store is hiring. He could be a personal trainer. He could do what everyone else in LA does. He could be a waiter or he could bartend. He is so good looking. He would make so many tips if he bartended. He could do Uber Eats. I made $100 a day doing extra work after college to pay my bills. And that was like 20 years ago. So I bet it pays more now. He could do extra work. He for someone who grew up poor, he has no hustle whatsoever.
Right.
and he just wants things to fall into his lap, but then he complains about his circumstances. And
Yeah.
like, I understand that he is mixed race, but all the other cards are in his favor. He is incredibly handsome. He's
Mhm.
physically fit and able-bodied. He is straight. He is in his early 30s.
Yeah.
The world is his oyster. And the fact that he has not had any success in LA, when I know people that are way less attractive and way less good and talented who have had
Yeah.
success in LA, that means that he is not trying, or he
Mm.
has an incredibly bad attitude
Yeah.
and people don't want to work with him.
Yeah.
Because I can think of a million ways that I could get him into the industry right now, just with his
Mhm.
looks alone, even if he has no talent.
Yeah.
So, and I know COVID shut things down, but he's been trying way before COVID, and
Yeah.
COVID didn't shut everything down. There was still lots of stuff working. And it's like he's acting like he is everyone else in the rest of this country who is 100%. Most people in this country are like one paycheck away from being houseless, and they're
Yeah.
working multiple jobs, and they're trying
Right.
the very best they can, and he's acting like that's him, and that's absolutely not him.
No. We've
He
seen
should be
no
willing to
hustle.
do any job necessary to get her
Right.
into a better apartment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
He
get
he
why
has
they're mad.
I get why they're mad too. You're right. He has no hustle and everything is like,
That
poor
was my
me, poor me.
diatribe, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is against him. But at the same time, in this particular situation with these two women, he does feel like they're ganging up on him. And I get that too.
He acted like that when Sophie would talk to him, though, when she would just say, I want a duvet. Remember the freaking duvet conversation? He's like, you're coming at me in the morning. Why do you have to come at me with a duvet in the morning? We just woke up. Give me like an hour before you start saying you need a duvet. Like, he's defensive all the time.
Yeah. Turns out they already had two duvets.
Yeah. He didn't know what a duvet
They
was.
didn't know what a duvet was. All right, next week on 90 Day Fiance, Gino proposes to Jasmine again in Spanish. I
Wow.
think it's like the third proposal. I mean, they've had so many proposals. So
At least
many.
he's trying to learn Spanish finally.
That's right. That's right. And she says Gino has shown her so much love on this trip, but of course, she is hiding information about who was her butt implant donor, um, who is Dan. So Citra and Sam go out. They're gonna have one big blowout before he converts, which doesn't seem like a great idea for somebody in recovery from addiction. But
Yeah.
hey,
Hmm.
they're gonna go out, and she's like, "Don't tell my dad." Like they're going to like play pool and drink beers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Anali tells Clayton she is tired of the same conversations over and over, and if he can't respect what she says, they should just break up. So I don't know what's gonna happen there.
I think it's totally reasonable of him to say, if your dad doesn't know we're getting married, I don't want to get married.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he could be like, just respectfully, your father should know that we're getting
Yeah.
married. Um, Justin says, Justigor says he's in love with Nikki, but his body doesn't feel the same as his
Oh,
brain. Yeah. And then he
tell
laughs
her
at,
that. Tell her that.
yeah.
You can't keep telling us that. It's not fair. Tell her.
And then again, they have a conversation about a threesome and he laughs and is like, yeah, I want to do that. And she goes, so you think that's funny to like laugh about fucking another girl? And he just laughs and goes, this is what I want. And is laughing. She's got to ditch him. She's got to
Yeah.
ditch him.
Ugh.
She's got to ditch him. Ashley yells at Manuel about hurting her feelings, talking about the sending of the money to Ecuador. So they go bang it out in the bathroom.
Whilst poor Jonathan sits in the parking lot staring at the camera.
Yeah. I mean, you think they have sex like 3 times a day? Like that's exhausting.
It's like, makes me think something that's just not healthy. They're
Yeah.
overcompensating, or they're
Yeah, you can't live like that. I mean, that's not
no,
real life.
no.
So then we see Rob gets all annoyed with Sophie and her mom. And I just say he's acting like a little bitch. He's out on that beautiful patio going, I can hear you. I can hear you. And then they come out and she's like, why are you being so defensive? And she's putting her little tiny backpack on. And it's like, we're just going to go. He's like, you should leave. You should. I got to go to work anyway. LOL. Yeah, I don't know what his job or his life or what. It'll be very, very interesting whenever we get to the reunion. And God, I hope that we have that Tim and Andre and Kalani and Tanya on the stage again, being like, "What is your job? What
See,
do you do?"
that's
Because
can you please tell us?
yeah, what's his job
'Cause I
currently?
know my Target is hiring. Do you not you're too good to
Yeah,
wear the red shirt? Okay,
he could work at Sir or Vanderpump Dogs. I mean,
totally. That's the
I
thing
mean,
is he is so good looking that there are so many more opportunities for him than
yeah,
other people in this town. So, there's a million things that he could do, which makes me think he's hasn't tried or has burned bridges with his bad attitude.
yeah. Do you follow her on the Instagram,
No,
Sophie?
I did
She's
see her glow
just
up. She looks
yeah, she looks great with the dark hair, but she's very it's very ass forward.
oh,
All our
yeah.
Instagram posts are very ass forward. Now,
Yeah,
again, we thought at first it was a fake ass. Now we think it's
I
a
never did.
okay, I did. I thought it was a fake ass. But
Yeah.
I listen, when you see her on the show and you're like, okay, obviously this is her natural body or whatever, but then you see her on Instagram and you're like, what's happening here? Like I think
Filters.
it's and I think it's the posing, right? If you pose a certain way with you
Yeah.
arch your back out and all this, like if we've learned nothing from Kim Zolciak Bierman, we've learned how to pose to make your ass look bigger.
But you can
So,
also just you can click on it and, like, expand it, right?
oh, I guess you could. Maybe I should do that.
That's what the Kardashians are constantly in trouble for because they'll be in a pool and the butt is huge, and then people will see that there's a curve in the pool that's not supposed to
Yeah.
be there, which is a dead giveaway that you have done some
Yeah.
enhancing.
Yeah. And people also know how to do that to make like things look bigger or smaller, like make your waist smaller or whatever you want to do.
Absolutely.
They
Yeah.
know how to do it where you don't see the marks. And
Mhm.
I will never learn those ways because I can barely make a TikTok.
Also, it's not healthy because those are not normal body standards.
That's not what a normal body looks like.
No.
We were just talking about, I was talking to Keisha yesterday about Love After Lockup. And we were talking about Lindsay saying that she's going to, get married and she's going to do it within a month. And Keisha goes, yeah, you can't like get a wedding dress and get it fitted and do all that stuff within a month. I go, yes, you can. It's called buy off the rack. You buy
Yeah.
a dress. I said, Lindsay is probably a regular woman that's like a size 6,
Yeah,
you
she
know?
can just walk
I
into the
it
store.
she's walking to the store and buy whatever. She's got like a regular size
Yeah.
body. I go, "It's really not." I told Keisha, I go, "It's really not like that." I think that you can just go into David's Bridal and buy a wedding dress.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Also, on Say Yes to the Dress, they would always have like a, we're getting married tomorrow. And then the consultant panics, but then the consultant finds them a dress that
That
doesn't need
fits.
alteration. And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But if, as I am size beautiful and I have a
Yeah.
complicated body, I think I
Yeah.
would very much struggle to find something that would fit without
That would fit.
alterations.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
see them sometimes, right? You see the people and they've got those giant clips on the back. So
Yeah.
they've clipped it to how they have to alter it. When I looked for a wedding dress, I was so over it. I think we'd been to like 2 stores, and being this was, the 3rd daughter to get married, my mother was also over it.
Oh.
And so I think one of my sisters maybe went with me. I can't really maybe my aunt, I can't
Oh,
remember.
they
My
really
mom
were over it.
yeah, I mean, my mom was there and maybe like I said, maybe one sister, maybe one aunt, but that was it. We walked into there's several nice wedding stores in Jackson, Mississippi. This one was like the big one. We walked in, I go, "We're finding a dress in here and hopefully like on sale." And we did, and my mom, I guess, said whatever the budget was, and I met that budget goal by like half. I was like, "That one's on sale. It's fine. It fits. Let's go."
I love it. Good for you.
And it's weird because it's if I had to do it now, I would really like be very into what the dress looked like and make sure that like it looked good on my body and all this. But I think when you're I mean, I was 32 and I could just like, okay, that'll fit, size 8, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's yeah, it looks good, let's wear it. But now I'm old, I would be so paranoid, like, I don't want my arm to show, I don't want
Yeah.
this. But I was like, "That's fine, it's sleeveless, who cares? Let's go. I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care."
At
That
that
is
age, you're effortlessly beautiful.
mm, well, if I only knew then what I know now is that I should have enjoyed it. I should enjoy
I
just being like, I'll just
hello,
pack these
yeah.
3 swimsuits and
Wish
they'll look
somebody would
fine.
have
And
told me, babe,
yeah,
these were gonna be the good old days.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Enjoy
how
the
I feel.
fact that you could just wear a two-piece and you don't think twice about it.
Yeah.
Now, like, nobody wants to see that. That's
No, I
scary.
never wore a two-piece because I was too self-conscious. And I would look now back and I'm like, "Oh, I could have been a model, Jesus." I mean, a plus size model, but still, everything
I
still
could
sat where it was supposed to.
exactly, exactly. Oh my god. Well, we went off on a tangent there, but, in the words of Sean Robinson, but we wish them the best. So,
I don't think we're gonna solve this today, but we wish them the
no.
best.
Yeah. So, we're on episode 12. So, I feel like we've got a long way to go, don't you?
Yeah, I think sometimes they go to, like, 22.
Yeah, I think we're probably only halfway there. But we did the break right before Christmas, we did get, like, this season on, which is usually
Yeah,
what they
was
do
there a lot
exactly
of new stuff? Yeah.
they do midway through.
Uh-huh.
So I think that maybe we're at the halfway point, and we know that Happily Ever After is coming in March.
That's right.
So this will probably Happily
And
Ever
Single
After will
Life is
replace
out
this.
now.
Single Life is out now. That's a B-list show that we're
Yeah.
covering over there on Patreon and Supercast. I covered it
Don't
this
call
weekend
it
with my new
B-list.
well, it's
For
okay.
your Patreons, they're only getting A-list material.
Well, it's A-list coverage of a
Yeah.
B-list show.
It's a
Yeah.
A-list. Okay, there we go.
And Meredith was on this weekend. She's taking the place of Amy over on Patreon and
Yes.
Supercast. And did you listen? What'd you think? I thought it was great.
I think she seems great. I need to message her and say welcome to the family.
Yeah, she's very easy. She's easy breezy,
Mhm.
easy to talk to,
Yeah.
easy to schedule with, and she does keep mentioning the fact that I could be her mother if I was a teen mom, and
I
I
thought
don't enjoy that.
she said big sister / very young mother.
Yeah, she said today she even posted, Mary Payne could be my teen mom. I'm like, you're going to get fired.
Yeah, stop
I don't
mentioning
ca
it.
I don't care how much people like you. Quit saying I could be your teen mom because it is true, but you need to stop saying
Stop saying
it.
it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I realized quite I mean, I knew she was young because she has a kid that's like 3. So, I mean, I knew she was young, but I didn't realize quite how young, but that's okay.
That's fine.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm
She
expanding my
can teach
demo.
you some young words like that Anna has taught you.
Mhm. Yeah, and when she told me her favorite, bands that she likes other than Fleetwood Mac, I was like, "Who's that? Who's that? And who's that?" I didn't know
But you
any
always
of the
sound hip
people.
because you always mention Billie Eilish, so you always sound super cool.
That's all I got. That's the only hip thing I've got. Billie Eilish, by the way, at the Golden Globes, no, I can't stand up for what she was wearing. I have no idea what that was. It was
Oh,
awful.
I'm gonna go look.
It was not great. And,
Okay.
she really could do no wrong in my book, but this was not a cute outfit.
Oh.
I mean, cute. I mean, not even like it was
I don't
actually
think
just
she's
bad.
trying to be cute. I think that's
No,
her
she's not.
thing, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
She absolutely is not trying to be cute.
Yeah,
And
I respect that.
I guess I do too. I was hoping I'm going
It
to
does
see
seem
and
like the style on the young people is like trying to be ugly.
try to look
Like
as bad as possible. Yeah.
try to look as bad as possible. And
Hmm.
I don't get it, but that's their way. And
I
also
don't get it
again when
either.
you're that young, it can you kind of look kind of cool.
Because you will be our age and look back and be like, wow, why did I spend those years trying to look bad when I
No,
could
that's
be
true.
effortlessly beautiful?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
It all comes back around. Well, tell me what's going on Date with Dateline. Are you guys like back to having new episodes? Is Dateline
Yeah.
back with us? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we did Thursdays, which was an update episode, which was the room downstairs. And funnily enough, last time we did an episode right before the holiday break, we did this episode. And I posted it on Patreon because they get it early. And I started getting messages like, I swear you guys have done this one before. Haven't you done this one before? And finally, someone goes, you guys, they did this one before. So it finally happened. We fully covered, edited, published an episode that we had already covered that case and we didn't remember. We had no idea.
Was it like a repeat of Dateline?
Yes, but with like an update at the end.
Yes, uh-huh.
And we had no recollection. And I felt so badly because, again, these are real people and it's their family tragedy, and I didn't remember it. But we've done over 400 episodes.
But what
So
about your color notes on your phone?
I
Isn't
know I
that how
didn't
you're supposed to
check.
keep track?
I didn't check. Because it didn't seem familiar to me at all. Normally, if it seems familiar to me, I search for keywords and I look in my notes. But this did not even seem familiar to me. And
Oh my gosh.
there's even one part where someone gets mac and cheese from Burger King. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, we had an episode where someone got mac and cheese from Burger King. And I remember being like, mac and cheese at Burger King? I didn't know they had that. And I thought it was just 2 episodes that had mac and cheese at Burger King. No,
No
it
way.
was the same case. And we did it in 2017. And it was our 4th episode that we released ever.
Who could
And
remember? My gosh.
I know, but like I should remember. I feel like I usually remember details and cases. Mank thinks I'm like an encyclopedia of
Yeah.
Dateline, and I
Yeah.
fully forgot. I don't expect Katie to have remembered, but like some point through the process, one of us should have been like, "This is very familiar," and our
Yeah.
listeners go back and they listen to our old episodes, so they knew exactly that it was one that we'd already done.
Oh, did you leave it up?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you put a little thing at the beginning like, "Hi guys"?
No, I'm just gonna hopefully we'll get more engagement on the posts when people
Okay.
realize and they come to tell us. That's where I'm at now, where I'm not even gonna correct my mistakes. I just want more engagement on social media. So just you can come at me and tell me.
I will tell you that because Meredith has a big social media presence, and then because also Olivia Plath finally 3 weeks later, finally like
Posted
reposted
about
that she
your
was on my
episode?
podcast. I got a social media jump. But,
10,000?
no, girl. No,
Oh.
girl. Not 10,000.
Oh.
But I am before Meredith came on, I was in the like 85.97. It was like 85.99, 85.97. It would go up and down. It never would hit 8,600. But now I'm at 8,690.
Yes.
Yes. So guys, if y'all don't think the struggle is real, and you
Sure.
can understand why people get desperate and buy followers.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah,
I
get
get
it.
those emails all the time. Like,
Yeah. I've never
for
done it.
$25, you could get 500 followers. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Should I do it?
No, we're
not
gonna get
not
there
gonna do it.
honestly.
Honestly, it's honest, hard day's work, guys. Everybody follow Kimberly and Katie over at Dateline on Instagram and wherever you find your podcast. And please, I'm begging you, like I do every week, please follow me on Instagram at Pink Shade Pod. There's some fun stuff over there. I just put up a very funny video about Natalie being Alex from Fatal Attraction.
She is 100%.
Yes.
I'm not going to be
We're gonna
ignored,
be ignored.
Mike and what's his name?
Josh.
Josh.
Yeah, I sent Meredith a text yesterday. I go, can you just send me a voice memo of you going, Josh? She does it really well. She does it really well. And then we've spliced that in. I'm not going to be ignored, Josh. Yeah. See, guys, we're funny over there. Funny. So go ahead and follow, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.